Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be cutting through a single but really complex narrative.
We're looking at intergenerational trauma, love under, well, extreme duress, and what it actually takes to break these damaging cycles.
Yeah, the strengths required. And we're centering this entire deep dive on the story of one character, Lily Bloom.
It's a powerful story. We're going to use the source material to really map out how trauma, once it's internalized, can become a kind of blueprint. A blueprint for future romantic choices.
A blueprint, I like that.
Okay.
So our mission for you listening is to unpack the dual timeline that really defines Lily's emotional world.
Exactly. On one hand, you have this intense, really volatile adult relationship she has with a man named Ryle.
And on the other, you have this profound formative connection she had as a teenager with Atlas, a completely different kind of love.
And by comparing the two, we can start to understand how the wounds left by her abusive father, Andrew Bloom, really dictated the kind of man she felt comfortable loving, or maybe the kind of man she thought she deserved.
Right. So where do we start? The story kicks off at a moment of forced reckoning for her.
It does. We meet Lily post-college. She's living in Boston, but she's just come back from her hometown in Plethora, Maine.
And why was she there?
For the funeral of her father. He was a highly respected former mayor, but secretly he was incredibly violent toward her mother.
So this funeral is really the emotional fault line that just cracks everything open.
It forces her to confront all the shame and complexity she's spent her whole life trying to bury.
Okay, so let's unpack this opening because it's so intense. Lily is. She's emotionally raw. She escapes to a 12-story Boston rooftop.
Just trying to get some space, some solitude after that funeral.
And she's not just thinking about her dad. She's thinking about something really philosophical.
Yeah, suicide regret. It's so specific. She's wondering if people, in that brief moment of falling, realize they've made a mistake.
But she makes it clear, not my own. She says, I like my life enough to want to see it through.
And that moment of quiet introspection is just, it's ripped away.
By the arrival of Ryle.
And this is not a cute romantic comedy meeting. Not at all. It's an immediate, shocking exposure to his aggression.
The source material describes him as a definitely male, tall, broad-shouldered silhouette. But it's what he's doing that's so jarring.
He's attacking a piece of patio furniture, just repeatedly kicking a chair.
And I love this detail. It's so specific. It's a patio chair made of marine-grade polymer. He's just kicking it over and over.
It's such a weirdly specific detail, but it's crucial for Lily.
Why? What does it trigger in her?
She has this immediate flashback to her father, Andrew Bloom, once trying to back his car over a table made of the exact same frustratingly tough material, and all he did was dent his car bumper.
Wow. So in less than a minute, Ryle's rage is directly, subconsciously linked to her father's.
Exactly. And she sees his very active aggression-kicking furniture like a champ, she thinks, and she contrasts this with her own coping mechanism.
Which is what?
To keep her stress pent up until, in her words, it manifests in the form of passive aggressiveness.
So his outward aggression is, what? Familiar, almost safe to her.
It's a known entity. It's a dangerous energy, yes, but it's one she grew up around. It's the dynamic she understands, and on some level, it feels predictable.
So the attraction is just immediate.
It's visceral. It completely bypasses her rational brain. I mean, he's described as beautiful, but it's his voice that really gets her.
The source material says it's deep, confident, and a little bit like butter.
But more than that, it says it doesn't just stop at her ears, it reverberates straight down through my body.
That's not just lust. That's a fundamental, almost magnetic pull.
It is. Her body is reacting to him before her mind can even process the red flags that are, waving everywhere.
And visually, he's projecting this image of success and class that she seems to both want and reject at the same time.
Completely. He smells like money. He's wearing a casual Burberry shirt with what she clocks as a $200 haircut.
She knows he's the kind of guy people are easily impressed by, but she's determined not to be.
Even while she's being completely drawn in, it's that classic conflict.
Okay, so this leads directly into how they connect, not through small talk, but through this game they invent on the spot.
Naked truths.
Right. It sounds so healthy on the surface.
Yeah.
Brutal honesty, no games.
It sounds transparent, yeah, like a way to bypass all the superficial dating stuff.
But how does this game, this rapid sharing of trauma, actually become a huge flaw in their relationship right from the start?
Well, the thing is, naked truths functions as a tool for false intimacy.
False intimacy, what do you mean?
True intimacy takes time. It requires trust, shared experiences, vulnerability that's built carefully. This game it strips away all their defenses way too quickly.
So they're just trauma dumping on each other.
Essentially, they're sharing their deepest wounds not to heal, but to shock each other, to connect through their brokenness. It's a shortcut. And they mistake that shared trauma for genuine compatibility.
And Lily goes first. She immediately shares the one truth that defines her entire life.
That her father, Andrew Bloom, was abusive to her mother.
We really need to detail the complexity of that cycle, because this is the knowledge she carries into every single relationship she has.
It's profound. The violence, the hitting, it was always reliably followed by a honeymoon phase.
The compensation.
Intense compensation. Her father would buy her mother expensive flowers, take them to nice dinners, and this is the critical part, he would buy Lily gifts. He knew she hated the fights.
So he was buying her silence, in a way.
And Lily admits something shocking, a really painful self-judgment. She says she sometimes looked forward to the fights.
Because it meant peace was coming.
Because it guaranteed a period of peace, gifts, and her father being temporarily better. It's a heartbreaking admission.
And her guilt over it is immense. She confesses that not doing something about it made me just as guilty.
That belief is the core burden she carries. That if you witness abuse and you don't stop it, you are complicit.
And that guilt explains her second naked truth, which is about the funeral.
The anti-eulogy.
The epic disaster, she calls it. She was asked to say 5 great things about her father.
The man she hated, but also in a complicated way, loved. And she was just paralyzed.
She stood at the podium in total silence for 2 minutes. Couldn't say a single positive thing.
Until her uncle mercifully came and got her.
And she expects Ryle to judge her for this, right? For failing to honor the dead.
She does. But his reaction is the opposite. He calls her a hero.
A hero who roasted a dead guy.
And that right there is critical. Ryle instantly validates her darkest, most conflicted act. He makes her feel seen and understood in a way no one else ever has.
That validation has to be addictive, especially when it's about something you carry so much shame over.
It is. But then Ryle follows up with his own set of naked truths, and these should have been, just massive blaring red flags for her.
Okay, what are they?
First, extreme ambition. He's a neurosurgeon, and he wants to be the best in his field. That's his entire focus.
And with that comes a total rejection of, well, a normal life.
A complete rejection. He says marriage repulses him.
He wants no children.
And that success is his only goal.
So this is a fundamental rejection of the kind of future most people want. Why would Lily, who seems to want stability, just ignore that?
She doesn't see it as a warning. She sees it as admirable honesty.
So she rationalizes it.
Completely. She thinks he's too honest and self-aware to be manipulative. She even says, I admired him for admitting he's too selfish to have children.
She sees his aversion to commitment as respectable, not dangerous.
Yes. And it allows her to feel a little bit superior, maybe? Like she's the one who can accept this difficult, complicated man that other women might reject. It's a pattern.
And it all culminates in her final truth, which she almost throws out as a challenge.
The first guy I ever had sex with was homeless.
Atlas.
Which, of course, refers to Atlas. It sets the stage for her past to just violently collide with her present.
The contrast couldn't be more stark. The successful, wealthy neurosurgeon and the homeless boy.
Yet both of them attract Lily through this intense, non-traditional kind of energy.
Okay, so while all this personal volatility is happening, Lily is also trying to build a career.
Yes, and she's pursuing a really deep, authentic professional dream. She has a master's in business, but what she really wants is to open a floral shop.
Which creates a bit of an identity crisis for her.
A huge one. She's worried that opening a flower shop will be seen as a downgrade after getting a business degree.
And she also has this fear of being seen as capitalizing off my name. Lily Bloom, flowers.
Right. That people won't see it as a genuine passion. It's that constant conflict between what's expected of you and what you actually want.
But her vision for the shop it's a direct reflection of her life. It's based on her mother's advice to be brave and bold.
It is. She explicitly rejects the conventional, the sweet life pink spring narrative of a flower shop.
And instead, she embraces what she calls the villainous side of flowers.
It's such a brilliant metaphor for her life, isn't it? She grew up in a situation that looked perfect on the surface, the mayor's daughter, beautiful home.
But underneath, it was dark and toxic. Her story is a manifestation of that duality.
Let's get specific on the aesthetic because it's so important. The shop is designed with dark purple walls, black accents.
And the flowers themselves are the darker varieties. They're displayed with these edgy, non-traditional things like leather straps and silver chains.
Purple velvet vases lined with silver studs. I mean, it's very specific.
And her target market is so interesting. It's people who claim they hate flowers.
It's paradoxical, right? She wants to appeal to people who get that things are rarely what they seem, people who embrace complexity over simplistic beauty.
And this brave and bold vision is what brings her directly into the Kincaid family orbit.
Through Elisa, Ryle's sister.
Elisa just walks into the dusty, unfinished shop space, looking incredibly high-end with an Hermes bag.
And immediately volunteers to work for free.
This character, Elisa, is so crucial. Why is her entry so important here?
Well, for a couple of reasons. First, she's not driven by money. She's looking for a distraction, for a purpose, after 2 years of struggling to get pregnant.
So she and Lily bond very quickly.
Instantly. She becomes Lily's enthusiastic employee and, very quickly, her best friend.
And that relationship ties Lily into Ryle's family structure, making it so much harder to leave later.
Exponentially harder. Because if she leaves Ryle, she risks losing her only real friend in Boston. It raises the stakes completely.
It also gives Ryle an indirect kind of validation, right? If his wonderful sister loves Lily, then surely he's capable of that same kind of love.
Exactly. But to really, truly understand the emotional wiring that draws Lily to a man like Ryle in the first place, we have to go back in time.
To find the root of this, we have to turn to the second source we have, her teenage journals.
The Dear Ellen journals, which is, a very endearing detail. She writes these raw, unfiltered accounts of her life in plethora Maine as letters to Ellen DeGeneres.
And these journals gives us the full context of her home life at 15.
A constant tightrope walk around her father's temper. It's just always there.
And it's during this time that she discovers Atlas Corrigan.
A high school senior living illegally and secretly in the condemned abandoned house behind her yard.
And at first she doesn't grasp the severity of his situation.
No, she thinks he's just, taking a break from his parents or something, but that illusion dissolves very quickly.
We start to get these little details that show how much he's struggling. A girl at school, Katie, notes that he smells.
His clothes aren't fashionably ripped, they're genuinely full of holes. And Lily realizes he's been stealing radishes from her garden just to have something to eat.
And the kindness she shows him is so immediate. The moment they really connect it's very personal.
It is. She invites him into her house for a shower while her parents are out. It's an act of pure compassion.
And it's the first time she really sees him. She notices his eyes.
His bright Siberian husky blue eyes. She's attracted not to his power or aggression, like with Ryle, but to his vulnerability, his need. It's a complete reversal of the power dynamic she's used to at home.
And eventually, Atlas tells her the full, devastating story.
He was kicked out by his abusive stepfather on his 18th birthday, exactly on the day.
And his mother.
His mother wouldn't take him back. She was afraid of upsetting the stepfather. It's just this devastating act of familial abandonment.
So he was completely alone, just trying to survive for 6 more months.
Just trying to hold on until he could enlist in the Marines.
We should pause on the logistics here because the source material is very clear about this.
It is. It details the lack of resources for a young, homeless man in that area. Shelters were full or they were for battered women and children.
And without a fixed address or a phone, getting even a minimum wage job was impossible.
His situation was one of absolute systemic failure. He had fallen through every possible crack.
And this contrast between the privileged but violent world of the Blooms and Atlas's genuine desperation, it highlights Lily's capacity for selfless compassion.
It does, and that compassion is at the heart of this really crucial moment they share in her garden.
Lily uses gardening as her escape, and she explains her philosophy of love through her plants.
Yeah, she tells Atlas that plants are a reward system. You give them love and care, they give you life and beauty back. If you're cruel or you neglect them, they give you nothing.
And Atlas immediately connects that to his own life.
Painfully so. He says that if humans are neglected, they end up homeless and incapable of anything meaningful. It's how he sees himself. Worthless.
But Lily counters that darkness. She uses this image of a massive oak tree in her yard.
And she tells him that some things, like that oak tree, are strong enough to grow alone. They survive by just relying on themselves and nobody else.
She's telling him, without saying the words, that he's resilient, that he can survive this.
And he gets it. The connection between them in that moment is about recognizing a shared struggle for survival. He looks at her and he gasps, "We're just alike." No, Me and you.
He sees that her internal battle against her father's rage makes her an emotional counterpart to his physical struggle for survival.
And their bond is sealed in this moment that is so odd and so specific. Atlas is covered in compost, which is basically cow manure, and he laughs and playfully smears it on her arm. And Lily writes in her journal that she was quite possibly the most turned on she had ever been.
Which isn't just about teenage hormones.
Not at all. It's the shock and the joy of realizing that a true, playful, unthreatening connection can exist outside of the constant threat of violence that defines her home life.
But that little bubble of safety doesn't last long.
It's shattered rapidly. As her home life escalates to its crisis point, the journals recount what she calls the worst night.
Her father was drunk. He pushed her mother down on the hood of the car in the garage and started choking her.
And Lily's response is just pure, desperate panic. She runs into the kitchen, she grabs the biggest knife she can find.
Knowing she would never use it.
Right, but just hoping the visual threat would be enough to scare him off.
But it's Atlas who intervenes.
He hears the screaming from his abandoned house and rushes in. He pulls the knife away from her and carries a hysterical Lily back to her room.
But it's the aftermath of that night that really cements the cycle of abuse in Lily's mind.
It's the lesson she learns. Her mother, despite being assaulted, refuses to call the police.
And her explanation is the thing that Lily internalizes about love and marriage.
It's not like that, Lily. We're married, and sometimes marriage is just, you're too young to understand it.
The ultimate minimization. It teaches Lily that enduring violence is just a complicated, necessary part of adult love.
Precisely. And that message allows this cycle to continue, which it does. 6 weeks later, we get the final, brutal climax.
Her father finds Atlas in her room.
And he attacks him with a baseball bat. The journal describes the sound of bones snapping.
It's horrifying. Lily has her first and only panic attack while her father is being hailed as a hero.
The whole town sees him as the man who is saving his little girl.
While Atlas, the actual victim, is painted as a dirty, thieving, homeless kid and taken away in an ambulance, the abuser's narrative wins.
Atlas leaves, severely injured and publicly shamed, but not before they share this pivotal promise that connects their futures.
Before he leaves for Boston to join the Marines, he tells her.
He says, "When my life is good enough for you to be a part of it, I'll come find you. But I don't want you to wait around for me."
It's so selfless. And her response shows her own dedication. She says, "If you don't come back for me, I'll come for you."
They seal their connection. Their future, they decide, will be in the place Atlas claimed. Everything is almost better in Boston. And this entire past, this entire promise is the blueprint that Ryle is about to shatter.
Okay, so we're shifting back to the present. Lily and Ryle are in deep. She's busy getting her shop off the ground. He's basically moved in with her.
The intensity is high, but we know it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
And the first major crack in the facade appears over something so domestic, so seemingly insignificant.
A burnt casserole.
A burnt casserole. It's the perfect trigger. Ryle is exhausted from his neurosurgery schedule. He forgets a pot holder, the dish shatters, and he just loses his temper.
And Lily sees how absurd it is and tries to suppress a laugh.
Which seems to be the thing that punctures his precarious self-control.
And this is the first time he gets physical.
It is, and it maps almost perfectly onto the classic cycle of abuse. He loses control, and he pushes her so hard that she falls and hits her eye on a cabinet.
And that illusion of safety she had with him is just gone.
It shatters, and his immediate reaction is so telling. It's this dual panic that you often see.
First, he checks his hand, his neurosurgeon's hand.
His professional capital, right?
Right.
It's cut by the glass. And then, only then, comes the immediate, profound sorrow and apology.
But Lily's internal monologue here is the key. She's already minimizing it.
Actively minimizing. She's repeating the pattern she learned from her mother. He's not like my father. I want to believe that it really was an accident.
Her desire to believe in the good man she loves just overrides the terrifying reality of what he just did.
It does. And then the reconciliation, crucially, is delivered sexually.
Through slow, apologetic thrusts, as the source puts it.
Which mixes that physical intimacy with emotional relief and apology, and it just confuses everything for her. It reinforces the reward system after the violence.
And after this, Ryle is forced to confess the trauma that fuels his rage.
The reason for his aversion to commitment. He tells her he caused the death of his 11-year-old brother, Emerson. He was there when Emerson was struck by a car.
And that has left him with this permanent, crippling guilt.
It's a critical piece of information because it gives Lily a mission. Alyssa later confirms the story, which validates Ryle's pain in her eyes.
So she no longer sees his anger as a threat to her, but as a wound that she's uniquely qualified to heal.
Just like she tried to heal Atlas with compassion. And that emotional investment makes it exponentially harder for her to leave when the violence inevitably escalates.
And then the past returns.
In the form of Atlas Corrigan, Lily runs into him, and he is no longer the struggling teenager. He's the successful, award-winning chef and owner of a restaurant called Bibbs.
And the name is a reference to their past.
Bibbs stands for Better in Boston. It's a direct callback to the promise he made her. He did it. He built a stable life for her.
And this successful version of Atlas is a direct threat to Ryle, who only knows the story of the homeless boy.
Ryle's jealousy is already simmering, and it just explodes during a confrontation in the restaurant hallway.
After he overhears a friend refer to Atlas as Lily's date from the past.
And Ryle attacks Atlas not just physically, but with these words that are precision-targeted to hit Lily's deepest shame.
He says, "This is Atlas, the homeless boy you pity fucked."
And that line is so unbelievably cruel, but it's also crucial. Ryle is, without knowing it, perfectly channeling Andrew Bloom.
It's the exact same shaming tactic her father used years ago to discredit Atlas and paint himself as the hero.
It proves that Ryle, for all his success, is repeating the exact abusive pattern Lily tried to escape.
Atlas recognizes the danger immediately.
He just yells for them to get the hell out of my restaurant. He sees the cycle in action, and that recognition prompts him to intervene.
The next day, he goes to Lily's shop. He tells her he doesn't think she's safe.
And he takes her phone, and he hides his contact number inside the phone case. He tells her, "Call me only if you absolutely need help."
And Lily, desperate to keep the peace, keeps this a secret.
But secrets in this kind of volatile relationship never stay buried.
Ryle finds the number.
And he is immediately convinced of betrayal. That's all it takes for him to descend into his final, terrifying rage.
This is the culmination. He throws her phone. He attacks her.
Savagely. She's left with a concussion, cuts, and this one sickeningly specific detail, the pain of his teeth piercing her collarbone. She realizes during the attack that the person hurting her is not Ryle, it's just pure, untethered rage.
And in the immediate aftermath, she has this terrifying moment of clarity. The lessons from her childhood just take over.
She's covered in his blood, and she knows instinctively she can't call Elise. She can't call her mother.
And most importantly, she realizes she can't call the police.
Because she doesn't want to jeopardize Ryle's career at Mass General. Even after being violently assaulted, her first thought is to protect her abuser's professional future. It's a direct echo of her mother.
Which makes what she does next so profound.
She calls the one person she knows she can trust.
Atlas. She whispers, "I need help."
And he races to the new luxury apartment Ryle had just bought for them, this cruel symbol of manufactured domestic bliss, and he finds her bloody and dizzy.
The scene at the hospital is so important for understanding the societal shame that victims face. The nurse asks about rape, suggests a SANE exam.
And Lily refuses. She insists Ryle stopped. And she has this moment of profound self-reflection, finally seeing herself in the women she used to judge.
She thinks she'll wonder why I never left him. Where are all the people who wonder why the men are even abusive?
She finally gets it. The question isn't why does she stay, it's why does he hurt her?
And Atlas provides her with a safe harbor. She stays in his new, beautiful, ocean-colored apartment.
And while she's there, she learns more about his journey. He trained as a chef in the Marines, but he actually taught himself to cook when he was 13.
Out of necessity.
Pure necessity. Because his working mother wouldn't feed him.
And the contrast between the two men is just blindingly clear at this point.
It is. Ryle uses his success to excuse his cruelty. Atlas achieved his success through resilience and uses it to create safety for others. He actually kept his promise.
So Lily is hiding out at Alice's place, and she starts to piece together the life he's built. And this leads to a pretty critical reveal.
It happens during a poker game with his friends. She realizes that the girlfriend he'd mentioned, Cassie,
doesn't exist.
She's a complete fabrication. And when Lily confronts him about it, his explanation just speaks volumes about his character.
What does he say?
He confesses he actually came back for her when he was in college, but he saw her in a courtyard, laughing with her friends, looking genuinely happy.
And he decided she was better off without him.
Exactly. He thought his past would just drag her down. So he faked having a girlfriend to respectfully keep his distance, to honor the life she had chosen for herself.
which is the polar opposite of Ryle's possessiveness and need for control.
It's a love rooted in her autonomy, not in ownership. He tells her, I'm not capable of being casual with you, Lily. It has to be all or nothing, built on real commitment.
And just as she's processing this, the narrative takes another huge turn. Alyssa figures it out.
Alyssa, Ryle's sister, notices the change in Lily and, through this very clever bit of deduction, forces Lily to confess everything, the abuse.
And the pregnancy.
And Alyssa's reaction is this huge thematic victory. Even though Ryle is her brother, she immediately aligns with Lily.
She sobs over what he's done and promises unconditional support. She says, I'm going to be the best aunt.
It's a crucial break in the cycle. So often, family members protect the abuser, but Alyssa chooses safety and justice over blood loyalty.
Ryle eventually finds out about the pregnancy. He finds Lily wearing a maternity shirt.
And his reaction is immediate, overwhelming love for the baby. He sinks to his knees, kissing her stomach.
And that moment doesn't erase his violence, but it makes Lily's choice so much more agonizing.
Because she knows the good man is still in there. The man she fell in love with still exists inside the man who hurts her.
It's the conversation with her mother that finally gives her the clarity she needs.
She confesses everything, and she's fully expecting her mother to make excuses for Ryle, to plead for reconciliation, just like she always did for Andrew Bloom.
But her mother doesn't do that.
Instead, she validates Lily's past in a way she never has before. She tells Lily she knew she hadn't frozen during her father's eulogy. She saw that silence for what it was.
An act of resistance.
Her mother says, you stood at that podium and refused to say a single good thing about that man. It was the proudest I have ever been of you.
That must have been. I mean, the release from guilt Lily must have felt.
And her mother's final instruction is the directive she needs to act. Be that girl, Lily. Brave and bold.
Her mother finally chooses her daughter's truth over her husband's reputation.
And that's the permission Lily needs to finally break the cycle for good.
So Lily goes into labor. Ryle is there for the birth. They have a daughter.
And the name she chooses is so deeply symbolic. She names her Emerson Dory.
Emerson after Ryle's late brother.
Honoring the good, wounded man she did love.
And Dory, after Atlas's advice from all those years ago, just keeps swimming.
The birth of her daughter is what solidifies her choice. It's a choice she couldn't make for herself, but one she can make, unconditionally, for her daughter, Emmy.
She has this core realization, 5 minutes. 5 minutes of Emmy witnessing Ryle's worst side, no matter how sorry he was later, would stick with her forever.
Just like her father's abuse stuck with Lily. And she refuses to let Emmy grow up believing that violence and love can coexist.
So she ends the marriage.
She does. In their final meeting, she tells him it's over, but she makes it clear he will have a relationship with their daughter. Her last words to him are a challenge.
She tells him he can save himself, if he chooses, by stopping the cycle of violence. She chooses the harder path of being a single mother over the risk of exposing her child to his rage. So, 11 months later, we see Lily's complete triumph.
It's a full circle moment. Her floral shop, Lily Blooms, is thriving. It's been nominated for Best New Businesses in Boston.
Which validates her courage to pursue that authentic passion. She went from being a girl who felt guilty for not acting to being a true agent of change.
Brave and bold as a business owner and a single mother.
And Atlas, that selfless anchor from her past, has fulfilled his promise.
He's successful, he's stable, and he's opening a new restaurant right on Boylston Street, cementing his presence in her life.
And when they finally run into each other again, Lily is different. She's not the same girl. She tests him before he lets him in.
This isn't that rapid, desperate sharing of trauma from the rooftop with Ryle. This is calculated vetting. She's a mother now. She needs to know he's safe.
She asks him 3 very specific questions.
Do you donate to charity? Do you want kids someday? And do you think you'll ever want to leave Boston?
And his answers are simple, confident, and exactly what she needs to hear.
He just affirms everything. No, never. Everything is better here, remember. The man who left to get his life good enough for her has returned. Stable, safe, and ready.
And she accepts him on her terms. Not as a rescuer, but as a trusted partner she's choosing.
And the author's note at the end of the source material really drives home the intent here. This story was written to explore the agonizing reality that love can, and often does, exist even within an abusive situation.
Which is why it's so brutally difficult to leave.
Exactly. And it was essential that Lily wasn't rescued by Atlas. She had to leave Ryle on her own. She chose the struggle of being a single mother to guarantee her daughter would never normalize that kind of relationship.
She finally became brave and bold for Emmy.
And the source material offers this really powerful insight. It suggests that preventing your heart from forgiving someone you love is a hell of a lot harder than simply forgiving them.
It takes constant, conscious effort to choose safety over that emotional connection.
It does.
So, for you, our listener, we'll leave you with this final thought that really sits at the core of Lily's journey. When does love become less of an emotional reward and more of a difficult, necessary responsibility? And what is that definitive, non-negotiable moment when self-preservation, or the preservation of the innocent, must fundamentally override that deep-seated desire for emotional connection?
That's all we have time for on this deep dive. We hope this exploration gives you a better understanding of how the blueprints of our past, even the ones we try to reject, can end up dictating the architecture of our future.
Until we find the courage to tear it all down and build something new. Until next time.